Listen, I am in agreement with you. I am in agreement with you. What's going on in Connor family? Certainly, we thank and praise God for another day. And whenever we are presented with another day, we're also presented with another opportunity. And one of the things that I am constantly learning in life is that every opportunity comes with opposition. And one of the biggest oppositions that we face in the midst of an opportunity is within ourselves. And that's a hard pill to swallow because what we begin to accept that reality, to swallow that pill, to take that medicine, it's an indication that somewhere along the lines we are now acknowledging that we are sick and or we are in need of some help. And because whatever the internal battles of self that we are dealing with, it impedes, it becomes the opposition to us being able to clearly focus on the opportunity that presents itself. I was having a discussion with the missus about stress, and we were just came back from Josiah's basketball tournament in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and it's a brand new team. The first game they won, there was this high level of excitement. The next two games, they got annihilated. And so there was a low level of disappointment. And then in the final game, where the goal is now we got to leave here 50-50, the final game was a very intense game. The missus began to talk about how she could feel the intensity of the moment caused her to begin to feel the stress physically in her body, and that he had to engage in some techniques that she's learned in how to deal with stress. Because one thing that we understand, whether we know it or not, if we don't deal with the stress, if we don't deal with the stressors, the stress and the stressors is going to deal with us. And if we approach what we're doing in building business, if we engage in this level from a high stress perspective based on what's going on, we will ultimately not only cause the business to suffer, but physically in our bodies, we will also suffer. Imagine why there's the energy center. Imagine why all of the things that is surrounding our community here at Akana is engaged about reducing stress because I believe that it is your ability to reduce stress. It increases your ability to be your absolute best. I'm gonna say that one more time so y'all can hear it. Your ability to reduce stress, it increases your ability to be your absolute best. One of the things that I, for a long time, did not acknowledge, I did not acknowledge the existence of stress. So in my chaotic world, as you just mentioned, Kathy, of multiple businesses traveling in and out of states, um, in this chaotic world of mine, nothing really stressed me out per se. Then I went to the doctor. When I went to the doctor, my levels was all over the place. And I said to the doctor, well, I don't understand. I'm in cheeto mode, you know. And the doctor began to explain to me that though I mentally may not acknowledge or be impacted by the everyday stress, he said my body physically is responding to it. And so, what do I do with that? One of the things I must do with it is I must first understand this what causes the stressors of my stress. Because every if we all begin to think about our lives, We could think about a we could think about a person, we could think about a place, or we could think about a thing that that becomes the instigator of stress. And so, in order for me to deal with the stress, I got to figure out how to deal with the person, figure out how to deal with the place, or figure out how to deal with the thing. Because if I don't, those three entities will continue to deal with me and it will impede upon me being my absolute best. Well, let's talk about this for a moment. We got a little bit of time. I got about 8 minutes before this call is over. So let's talk about this for a minute. What are some of the how does stress impact us in a way that it causes us to not be our best in our business, which ultimately impacts our business? Well, I'm gonna give you number one. Stress causes you to be physically impacted. There's physical pain that's manifested, especially for those of you that's listening to me right now. There's about four people on this call. I just saw it. You're dealing with back issues, and you've gone to the doctor. The doctor can't identify specifically what's going on, so they're treating symptoms, but the symptoms are not going away, and the symptoms are not going away because of the stress has not been dealt with. And now that the stress has not been dealt with, it's been dealing with you, and as a result, it's causing physical pain in your body. There's some things that's out of alignment in your life that's causing this sense of out of alignment in your spine. And the spine, watch this, is essential for mobility. The spine is essential for flexibility. The spine is essential for your ability to stand. So now I'm giving you a physical understanding of the spine, but now I want you to look at that in your life. Look at stress and see how stress has hindered your mobility, your ability to move forward. Look at stress and see how stress has hindered your flexibility. You're not as flexible like you used to be because your tolerance level is at a zero because the stress level is so high. Are you getting them? Look at your ability to stand during tough times and how tough times have the ability to potentially not break us, but make us feel broken. It's because of the stress. So, number one, in the next 6 minutes that I have, number one, we have to understand that there's a physical impact, which means potentially a physical impairment. The second thing that stress does is it causes us to become extremely fatigued. Stress sucks out our energy. And when you don't have energy, you cannot be successful. When you don't have energy, it's difficult to be motivated. When you don't have energy, the very thing you want to do, you just can't muster up the strength to do it. And so we got to deal with that thing. And that's why we got the energy center, because energy is necessary for you to combat stress in your life. So number one, it's a physical impairment. Number two, it saps out all of your energy. And number three, it begins to create mental fogs, and it begins to cause the lack of mental clarity. And so now, because you're all over the place, you're so stressed out, you can't remember this, you can't remember this. It's like you got a brain fog every other conversation because because you're dealing with so much stress. Can I focus? How can I remember to follow up? And the fortune is in the follow up, but I forget the follow up, so I lose sight of the fortune because brain is so all over the place. And I know personally when my body is starting to shift, And I had to learn how it starts to revert to stress. Because number one, when I start stressing, I start eating. There's no, watch this. Let me tell you, I'm just gonna come. Can Coach Dan, Pastor Dan, can Dan, or just Dan, um, can he break something down to you? I'm gonna tell y'all the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help me God. When I start stressing, I start eating. When I start eating, it ain't no energy center. It ain't no shop. It ain't no detox. It ain't no fast that's gonna be able to keep me from consuming that food. Are y'all hearing me? I'm trying to tell y'all the truth. So for me, it manifests in overeating. I eat through it all. And so this is why we got to be careful of how we allow stress to impact our lives. Are y'all hearing me? Another indication of stress is when you are um, fighting and dealing with stress, man, you don't want to be bothered with no people. You go into isolation mode and you try to separate yourself from everybody. You'll never be able to be successful when you are. I was trying to rhyme successful and stressful. It just came to me. Well, let me figure it out. You'll never be successful when you're always so stressful, full of stress. Are y'all getting this? Well, why are you having this conversation today, Coach? I'm trying to see how to make some money. Well, you ain't gonna make no money if you're stressed out. So, how do you handle it? All right, you told us about the problems. How do you deal with the stress? Number one, you got to acknowledge it. Number two, you got to deal with whatever it is that's dealing with you. That's the person, the place, or the thing. Number three, you have to, I'm going to say this, take a chill pill. You can't be worried about everything. I was, here's what happened to me over this weekend. Um, Josiah's game was in Grand Rapids, Michigan. It's about a 2 hour, 15-minute drive. He had an 8:15 and a 9:20 game on Friday night. Got up early Friday morning, did some work, and we drove to his game. I had to drive in separate cars. Why? Because Saturday morning at 9 o'clock, I had to speak back in Chicago. So guess what I did? I got up at 6 a.m. and I drove back to Chicago to speak. But I also, here's the issue. I also wanted to make certain I caught the rest of his games. So immediately following the me speaking, I had to jump in the car and drive back to Grand Rapids. But here's what happened. The person that invited me to speak, he knew that I had just got off the road and I was going to get back on the. He said, I can only imagine the pressure that you're under right now, just coming off the road and having to speak and this, that, and the other. And I know you got to get back and you want to get back in time for his game. So thank you for accepting the pressure. I said, what? I said, I ain't accepting no pressure. You're not putting no pressure on me. I don't feel pressure. I'm in chill mode. So what I need you to do is I need you to get the pressure off you because you projecting your pressure on me and I'm not accepting it. Are y'all understanding what I'm saying? And so guess what? I went on, did my thing, chicken wing, and the time changed or the game changed. Why? Because everything is going to always come into a divine alignment if you just learn how to take a chill pill. Don't pressure yourself and don't let somebody else pressure be projected on you. As you move to getting to this next level in your business, there's going to be some challenges. Yes, tariffs is out here. All kinds of stuff is happening in the world. But don't allow what's happening in the world to begin to affect what's happening on the inside of you. And when you begin to live in that realm, guess what, y'all? The old fat belly gonna go down. Guess what? You'll look in the mirror and have some energy. You'll fool around and actually go exercise. And you'll stop fussing and yelling at people all the time. Because you've got rid of, you've learned how to deal with the stress. and the stress is no longer dealing with you. Well, listen, that's my time. I hope this was helpful to you. I'm going to, this is going to be, listen now, next Tuesday. I will not be with you. I will be in the air. I will be in the air as I leave for South Africa on next Monday morning, and I will still be flying by our time on Tuesday. I will be in South Africa for a couple of weeks, but here is what I'm going to do. I am still going to be on the call, and I am going to give you greetings all the way from South Africa, and we're going to have us a good time. The only way I won't be on that call is if they got me on a flight moving from one place in South Africa to the next, as I have not seen that itinerary. But I look forward. I need y'all to be praying with me. And as always, I need y'all to give some seed. Y'all know it kind of don't pay me nothing to do this. I do it because I love y'all. Y'all my family. But I love for y'all to help me as I go to South Africa to give back to those that are in need. How can you do it? You can go to tecgives.org. That's tecgives.org and be a blessing, whatever that blessing is. I'd greatly appreciate it. We're doing a great work in South Africa, and I'll love to say that my kind of family is a part of that work. All right, until next time, as always, prosper and be blessed. Back to you, Kathy Wacky.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so much, Dan. TECgives.org, the Empowerment Center. The Empowerment Center gives.org, tecgives.org. Dan, thank you so much for pouring into us today. I will go ahead and increase my success by lowering my stress. So, so tonight we are going to hear from Dr. Betty and the experts. If you weren't on a certification, if you're not a wellness coach, I tell you that certification last night for wellness coaches, Power of the Subconscious Mind, obviously something we really need to be concerned with. And guess what? Next week's training will be for our wellness coaches. It's going to be on stress reduction. So, listen, this is all about making sure that you can continue on your journey. Reducing stress will ensure that you're going to be healthy enough to be able to do that. So, again, tonight we have the call with Dr. Betty and the community after that. Folks, I hope you guys go out and have an Akana kind of day. Be great.